This is the story of SnackMagic, where we take a deep dive into a snack box gifting service and speak to their team, advisors, and brand partners to learn about what they did and how they went from making $0 in April 2020 to $20 million annual run rate by December 2020. In this episode, we will talk about the pivot from Stadium to SnackMagic. Let's see how they did it.
So we began Stadium in 2014 and quickly became a very popular group ordering platform for lunch, particularly lunch in the office. And what was unique about it was that we had sent around a unique link that different recipients could use to actually go to one menu where it would correspond to different dishes. So we would be able to aggregate all these different types of dishes across the city on one menu.
And I think when we look back at, the spring or late winter of 2020, it was absolutely at a moment of, this is going to be an amazing business.
I mean, Q1 for Stadium was kind of a wild time. It was like peak growth.
When COVID hit, outside of K&L, everything that was happening with Stadium was really important to us because, it's our baby as much as anybody else's. That's how we feel about it since we were there for its birth.
I think that we were doing really, really well. February 2020, we were doing our best year ever.
So actually by Feb, I was looking at I had like 3 more locations locked, that this is the new locations that we'll move to. And then March, everything shut down and the plan was, it just went into the drain.
We were just prepping for, a pretty massive PR launch and campaign, towards the beginning of the year, after having some really great growth at the Stadium. And as we were just saying, there we are planning our PR strategy, essentially a week before, COVID just changed the entire landscape. Little did we know at that moment that no one was really going to care about, group lunch delivery in Manhattan, the following Monday.
It was picking up. We started to get a lot of virality going around the city. People started seeing our bags. It was really interesting to kind of see that grow. But yeah, I mean, obviously overnight we kind of got put by the wayside.
February for Stadium would have been one of our best months, and then comes in March. We are planning to beat Feb, and then COVID happens.
We were having our best week at Stadium before the pandemic hit. I remember Shauna mentioning this because it was again an ongoing joke that we were hitting our best week every week, and that clearly changed when we heard that New York needed to close down.
And then suddenly COVID happened, and we thought that it's gonna be maybe a month that things would close, and then we'll be back. We'll be serving group lunches to offices again.
Of course, everything changed overnight.
New York shuts down. Maybe there's something else we can do that could use some of the parts of Stadium, but then could address a much larger problem, and where we have our own unique edge, which is why we need to adapt our business to this whole remote working setting.
And, Stadium was employing a lot of really great people, and to have, again, a business that was on a rocket ship just stop on one day unexpectedly is really scary for people and for people that are responsible for their livelihood. And so I think, the fact that we were all able to turn it around and create something really powerful from that is meaningful outside of just business terms.
Yeah, we told the guys, take 2 weeks vacation sort of thing. We should be back soon. And then we realized there's no business anymore for Stadium.
In late 2018, we were basically trying to figure out other revenue streams for Stadium. And something that had been inadvertently gaining traction was our add-ons business, which was snacks and beverages. So in addition to selling, lunch, which was sort of the main jam for Stadium, working with our restaurant suppliers, we started also sourcing and purchasing a lot of beverages and snacks from various distributors and sometimes even brands directly. And I think the stat that I remember the most is that 70% of our consumers were purchasing 2 or more items from Stadium. So they were purchasing the main meal as well as snacks and beverages. And at some point, I would often even see orders being packed of just snacks and beverages.
We had Stadium VIP in the works. We had this concept called 3 p.m. coming out where we could, get some snacks for 3 p.m. We had catering in the works, so just a lot of things to kind of expand our breadth there.
Also, we already had snacks as a part of Stadium, but we were always thinking that could we also make it an offer, a different offering, kind of a pantry service to those same offices. Like they get lunch from us, but we can also tell them that we also provide snacks they could stock in their pantries.
Even before, SnackMagic fully came to fruition, I had kind of started helping Steph on a little bit of the CPG side, but still for Stadium. So we were still having calls about, working with our brands for Stadium because we had a growing CPG platform there. And we very much so were when we reopen, we'll do this, and very much still kind of just turning the wheels for all of that, and just kind of, working on some projects that you never have time to do and all of that kind of stuff. So then just kind of evolved, and they said, this is what we're doing, this is what it's turning into, and I was definitely all in.
And then initially it was a little bit okay, how are we going to make this work? But I think as soon as the ideation phase was over and it was okay, here's a path forward, it was pretty quick to get everything up and running.
The one thing we did know as a team is we want to do something. We are not the kind of team where we just wait for things to get better.
So for me, it was okay, we'll figure out something else.
And we wanted to use this time to experiment, do something new. Immediately after that shutdown, the next week we were doing 6-7 calls a day with customers. What we learned was with customers, they were all because of this big shift, they didn't know exactly what was going on. They didn't know what to do for their team that was working from home. They wanted to do something to connect better, but they didn't quite know exactly what. And then on the other side, we started talking to brand partners, and we realized very quickly that they had all this stock sitting around just because they'd been kicked out of some of these retail stores, just because all the retail stores were focusing on the bare essentials.
We were having these weekly growth meetings, and we were kind of just talking about things we could do, and we had all these extra snacks lying around in the Stadium warehouse. And so I think more out of just what do we do, with these snacks, and kind of, just our innovative spirit, we thought, why don't we just send these snacks, directly to some of our customers? They're better off in our customers' homes than, rotting away here in our facility.
The one thing we did know is we wanted to do something that was not just COVID-centric. We said we want to, if you're investing all this time and money and energy building a fantastic product, we want to build something that's going to stay no matter what the macroeconomic situation is.
Everywhere you go, you would see Amazon trucks, Amazon boxes. So I said, okay, we have to do something about it. And that's how I think the idea originated with Shaunak. He would get down on his building. Every time he went down, he was frustrated seeing all the Amazon boxes. That is basically how SnackMagic was born, and said, okay, let's give it a shot. We did a first order sometime in April, third week of April. First box went out, and that's how it slowly started. And in May, we took a new warehouse in Long Island City, and we moved there. 7,500 square feet of warehouse space.
So, yeah, we had these growth meetings, and Shaunak brought up the idea. It was actually called Stadium at Home at first, and it was just something we were going to do in the meantime until Stadium got brought back. So we said, let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's launch, Stadium at Home, and see if there's any legs to it, and just give it our all. Might as well, right? We didn't have much to lose at the time.
Immediately, without even questioning the idea or anything like that, people were just happy that we are trying something, we are doing something, and that they're going to be part of something that they'll get to see from zero. So then in analyzing that, we realized there was no better time to launch SnackMagic than during the lockdown because everybody was far away from each other, and they were yearning to make a connection with all their virtual employees. I mean, employees who are working remotely or virtual conference attendees.
What Sean Ellis would say, this was a zoom in pivot. We already were doing snacks, but they were a part of the lunch offering, and now snack became a product on its own.
So we said we are going to take this part that we see it working in Stadium and just zoom it out to give it its own space and make it its own business. So then we saw the macro is good. There is tailwind to the idea. Let's do this our way. So we have some differentiation, and then in the process we're going to create this fun, engaging experience where everybody can pick their own snacks, connect with each other, and that sort of thing.
Make it easy for the organizer to treat a group of people, but still let the choice of what one wants to receive, that should still reside with the recipient. Let him see the menu and choose. So can we build this whole offering in a way that it's super easy for the organizer and still it's a customized thing for the recipient? It's not kind of one size fits all. You send the same box to everybody. Let them come and see what they like and choose it. So that was the learning from Stadium, but then it also had its own different angle of how it had to work.
So we said, what if we did this concept in a way where the organizer can set up an order for as many people as he or she wants, send a link, everybody gets a link, and they can build their own snack box. And then they enter their own address and we ship it to their address.
In a way, like SnackMagic was a great way to put a lot of energy and on something that I was excited about, and on something that had like an endpoint in a way. An endpoint is like a product that we needed to launch. So in a way, I do think that it's one of the things that really did keep me sane, right?
Shinak had us all looking forward, like, let's take this time, because nobody knew what was going to happen. No one knew that this was going to be a 12-month or more interruption to a business. We just took the opportunity to start to make new inroads, right? Make plans for product extension and service extension. And SnackMagic really just was birthed out of trying to make the best of a really bad situation.
So there you have it. Stadium was put to the wayside as many offices were not operating as they normally were before COVID. So their team got together, ideated, and came up with SnackMagic. In next week's episode, we'll talk all about the launch. See you then.